Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. It's happened. We've got a new issue of the Call of Duty Zombies comic. It's been a while. We obviously had the first 6 issues in the first season. This time in this series, we've only got 4 issues coming out. This is the first one. It's the beginnings of the Chaos storyline. So we're going to read through it today, see what happens, see if we get any insights into what might be happening in Voyage of Despair, and, I mean, just generally in all of Black Ops 4, to be honest, because we don't know if this is going to contain a loading screen for the Ether story as well as Chaos story stuff or not. I mean, who knows? So let's get into it. I'm warning you now that there will be awful accents throughout this video because we're not in England for this. I believe we're in Morocco, so should be interesting. Actually, first page, we're starting in Hampshire, England, March 1912. When I was a child, my father's fantastical tales of history and adventure meant the world to me. They offered me a glimpse of ancient cultures filled with mystery and magic. But I grew up, and I realised that these were my father's, Alistair's worlds, and his alone, never mine. And so we're seeing Scarlet here running through some kind of forest, it's not the frozen forest, and hiding behind a little tree. I believed them to be simple fantasies of a deluded man. It would appear that I was mistaken. And really interestingly here, we're seeing members of this order, these monks, that are obviously all over the place in 9. Now we see her, and in her hand there, she's got a little chain with some kind of brooch on it, which looks like the thing that you put onto the scepter device thing that we don't really have a name for right now, and cause that kind of beam to go out and turn everything into zombies. So it's interesting that she's got that in her hand right here. I may not have understood my father or his stories at all. I'm willing to grudgingly accept that my father's stories about maniacs in robes was correct, because the maniacs in robes are right here with her in Hampshire, England in 1912, not in 9. Very interesting. Wow! There is a lot going on this page, but right now, I can only pray that everything else, so all the other stories that her father would have told her, was not. Dude, that's really, really interesting. They've conveyed this page, they've drawn it up in a really interesting manner, with our characters here, Bruno in the top left, Shaw in the top right, and I'm assuming Diego in the bottom left, and the Voyage of Despair in the bottom right, all being brought together by this object, this mirror, this ankh, this thing, whatever we're calling it. I don't have a name for it right now. This artifact. And suddenly we're in Morocco in September 1910. So I guess we're visiting one of the stories that her father told her. This is really exciting. To be honest, am intrigued. That was a good start for the comic. Let's keep it going. Morocco, September 1910. And this, I believe, is not being said in English. It's translated from French. Yes, it does actually say it on this one. She was mine, you beehive! Was it my fault you could not keep her? That will be enough, I think. No, actually, he's French. That will be enough, I think. You will learn as you get older that there are other women. That is, if you get older. Understood? Yes, sir. Very good. Now, get to work. And then he turns his head to the side. I feel perhaps that you are a bit old to join the Legion? He's looking over his shoulder here at an old man. Not want Legion join I, he's saying in French. I speak English. Certainly better than you speak French. In my defense, I've never had call to speak it. Only to read it. Do you have time to talk, Commander Delacroix? Time is not something ever in short supply here. And so we're cutting forward in time here, and he's pouring himself a drink and says, Contraband, of course. I am to dispose of the liquor. This is certainly one way of doing that. I suppose so. I am sure that you did not come all this way, Mr. Rhodes, or pull all the strings you have to enjoy the cheapest spirits to be had by the French Foreign Legion. There's a doggo sleeping there as well. Love it. Please, call me Alistair. May I ask you a question, Mr. Delacroix? If you are Alistair, then I am certainly Bruno. Why did you join the Legion? Well, in France, we have a saying... oh god, now I have to speak French. You know what? We're going to let Google say this one for me.
Qui craint de souffrir, souffre déjà de ce qu'il craint.
Okay, thank you, Google. He who fears suffering is already suffering that which he fears. Interesting. Now we've got some background here of a young boy and my boy Bruno trying to save him by the looks of things, and a load of dead folks. What is going on? I thought perhaps I could escape my suffering, but it only followed. Oh, so maybe this is his son? Could that be his kid that's been killed? Bruh? And you thought, perhaps, you could escape your former associates from the Paris underworld. I must confess, Bruno, that I know exactly who you are. I know that the attempted assassination of Michael Depardieu resulted in the death of his child instead. And I know the gangster you worked for as an enforcer put a bounty on your head, and so you ended up here. What is it that you want from me, Mr. Rhodes? Your former associates in Parisian organized crime have come into possession of an object I seek, stolen for what they euphemistically refer to as a foreign investor. Something neither they or their employers can be allowed to have. I want you to assist me in retrieving it. And why should I? Are you here out of guilt, Bruno, or out of fear? I can't help with the former, but if it's the latter, I believe that we can help each other. And now we're in Constantinople, in Turkey, September 1910. And these are the pages from the comic that we saw in the preview. We don't have time for this. Lebeau and the buyer are waiting. A trap? And they see this car in the road with this figure behind it. Can you get us around it? Us? Maybe, but the track won't follow, unless you want the package rolling down the hill. Sheep. So they get out of the car. What the hell are you doing? And they see a guy in the road. Sorry. I seem to be having some trouble. He says back to his driver, it's just an old man. Tell them I'm going to take care of it. There's trouble. Keep on guard. On guard! Keep on guard, Arnold! I don't like this at all! I'm afraid it picked the worst location possible to fail, and I myself was never mechanically inclined. I still prefer horses, but perhaps we can get this started. He's speaking English there with the French accent, even though the French accent is being spoken by an Englishman. I don't like this. You said we are supposed to stay back here, though. I'm not stopping you, but if we don't deliver the package, Lebeau will have our eyes. And so he starts creeping out the front here. I think perhaps you have other things to worry about. It is a trap! Stop him! Bang, bang, bang! They are French bullets! Well, I guess we're starting then. Whomp! And he slams his car door by the looks of things on the guy's head. Mr. Delon, did you... Oh! And he gets hit. Apologies, but needs must. And this guy's leaning out the car here with a real grimace on his face. I am far too old for this. Although, perhaps there is no right age for this. You're not taking the package! All you're getting is bullets. And Bruno's just like, enough of this! No. Tips the truck. The guy looks absolutely so worried. He goes crunching down the hill. But the package is not lost, and hopefully we're going to find out what it is. Okay, so this ginger-haired chappy here grabs it. Hello, Simone. I suggest that perhaps we do this the easy way. He just grabs the package, puts it on his back. Merci. I certainly hope that whatever it is we stole from them is worth the effort, Alistair, because I believe my former associates are coming. He says, how many would you say? At a guess, I would say all of them? Bang, 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 bang. They start firing their guns at the car. He is smart, this one. He is shooting to disable the car, not to kill us. Yes, well, it's working. I don't suppose you can do anything about him, could you? Oui. And then he does the old Legaroony in the air, kicks him absolutely flying, and off he goes. And I believe that was the end of the previous issue, and so we're now, sorry, the preview issue, and so we're now into the full rest of the issue, for issue 1. As defensible positions go, this is not terrible, Alistair, but still, I do not believe that this is why you have brought us here. Okay. No, I'm afraid it is not. I'm seeking something that can change the world. A repository of knowledge that has been lost for ages. And I believe clues to its location lie here. There is nothing here but dirt and perhaps death, my friend. Perhaps you need to look upon it in a new light. And he pulls out a heckin' staff. Let's go. Courtesy of the Scepter of Ra. I needed it to reveal this place's secrets to me, although that is perhaps a rather mundane use of its powers. How wonderful. Risking both life and limb for a lamp. Perfect. Wow, that's a very cynical look at it, I guess. The scepter is a source of illumination, my friend, but not merely the physical kind. These symbols are a map to the greatest treasure the world has ever known, a treasure that will allow me to work miracles. The scepter itself is just the smallest part of it. And indeed, all of this is worthwhile, as I now know where to go next. Angkor Wat. A miracle, however small, would not go underappreciated, because I believe that they have arrived. Oh dear. So, these guys all pulled up. They've got bandages on them. So they're clearly running low on henchmen, because they're reusing their troops right now. And this chappie here, who I believe is a new chap, says, "And you are certain that it was Delacroix who stole from us?" "Yes, Mr. LeBeau. He recognized me and, well, there's no mistaking Bruno for anyone else." "Excellent. I thought perhaps I'd missed my opportunity to see the monster of Paris dead, but life is full of happy chances, isn't it?" Interesting. "Go. Our buyers are coming. I want that scepter and 2 corpses for when they get here." They're going inside. "It's a flipping labyrinth. And there are worse things than minotaurs in here, my friend. There is me." Snaps his neck by the looks of things. Ripperoni pepperoni. Some of the other henchmen here. "I don't like this. We shouldn't be separated like this. You know who he is? How many people have died at his hands? There is no way he's here. Sheep!" They see a shadow in the darkness. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bang! That was our own men that we shot. No, 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 no. Flip. No. Look at his face. No. Oh, wow. Wow. That's a lot more graphic than I expected it to be. Their heads come off and their arms cut. That must have been a heckin' smash, dude. Rip. You should have stayed behind, Simon. Wow. So, wow, okay. And then we hear a voice. "Can you hear me, Bruno?" "Remy, I suspect that you can. The acoustics in here are remarkable, yes? And you can clearly see that this place is remarkable in other ways. I do not think that we will have another chance to talk about old times, Bruno. So I suppose it should not wait. I knew. I wanted you to know that it was a child in that carriage. I knew you would never kill him. Not intentionally. But doing so would make Depardieu reckless. That did far more damage than killing him. Please, don't kill me. I already have, Delon, and I knew that it would move you out of my way. So I arranged for you to do it unintentionally. You would have never understood. Too loyal to our boss. That was always your problem. That, of course. And then we see the voice is indeed this chap that we were just introduced to. And your lack of awareness of the bigger picture. That is why I am in charge and why you are here. Now, why don't you step out and say hello, old friend? There is no need for this. I'm sure my employer would prefer the old man to remain alive long enough for them to make some inquiries of him, but you? No. I believe that you are no longer needed. Oh! He gets shot 1, 2, 3, 4 times? And my boy keeps coming? Do you know what your problem is? No! You lack commitment. Oh my goodness, what? He just crushes his skull? Where is this gore coming from? Bruh. What? You always were an asshole, Remy. And then Alistair runs over to his buddy. We can get you out of here. A doctor. No. I think my time with doctors has ended. I hope that you'll get your miracle, Alistair. And he falls back on his back. Alistair says, I will get my miracle, my friend. And he raises the scepter of Ra. And so will you! My boy gets zapparonied and brought back to life. Mon Dieu. Yes. Yes! Nothing. Not a mark. How? I know another French saying. Qui vivre verra. He who lives shall see. There is more to this world than what we believe we know, my friend. Far more. This is just a parlor trick compared to what I seek, what I will find out. And he's looking at him with those puppy dog eyes. Any way that I can help, any time I will. You can always call on me. Always. And they shake hands. He's been brought back to life. And this chap's still alive. No. And we don't know if these guys are French, so I'm going to go straight back to English. You're fortunate to have survived. This is fortunate for us as well. Please, where is the object? It just doesn't quite fit, does it? Stolen, please. There's nothing left for you to say. And they shove him into the circle here, and he gets swarmed, and they all go, or rather he goes, no! And that's the end of the episode. Wait, that's the end of the Bruh. What? There's no loading screen. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. It would be weird if they started doing loading screens for this, if you kind of view the loading screens as a very ether story thing, rather than a zombies thing. But still, I thought there was going to be a loading screen. Regardless, though, I thought that comic was actually pretty good. We got introduced to a bunch of characters we hadn't met before. We had a little bit of development going on with Bruno. We now know how he's related to Alistair and why those two know each other. I suspect that the next issue of the comic will be related to Shaw, because we've already seen the cover for that, and we'll then probably find out why Shaw is related to Alistair once again. It will probably tie right in with what we saw at the beginning as well, with that little sequence when Scarlet was saying, these are all the stories that my father told me, and I hope that the other ones weren't true. I mean, damn. this is really, really interesting stuff. This order of unknown spooky people are everywhere, it seems. And I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I think this was a good issue of the comics. So if you've enjoyed this, and you haven't actually just completely turned to dust because of my bad accents, then please leave a like on the video. If you've enjoyed it, then feel free to subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys next time for the next issue of the Call of Duty Zombies comic. Cheers, bye-bye.